Hi everybody, it's Natalie from Power Moon Tarot. Welcome to your reading. Today's reading is called Drink the Poison from the Same Vine, Generational Curses. We are talking about that in this reading. This is not a light topic, and I fully recognize that for a lot of us. This was a subscriber request reading, and I'm happy to do those for you. If you have requests, you can drop them in the description box below, okay? And as long as I ethically agree with doing that type of reading, I will do it. Sometimes I, get some interesting requests and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, I don't feel comfortable doing that, but but within reason, yes, I will do it, okay? And anyway, so we are going to go ahead with this reading, and we're gonna find out who is the perpetrator of these generational curses, what part of your family, way back, past life issues, whatever it may be, and then what you should do about that, okay? And it's 9/11 right now. 9/11 is a very interesting number. It kind of follows me around. And anyway, we are going to go ahead and get started with this reading today, and we'll be doing initials at the end of every pile as well. And if you see the name of particular family members, or you see the name of, certain people in your life that perhaps, are past life related, then you will know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get into your reading today, and there's 3 different piles to choose from. You can choose pile number 1, which is the Labradorite. If you're into pile number 1, you'll choose if you're into the Labradorite, you'll choose pile number 1. For pile number 2, we have the Rainbow or Quartz. If you're into that, you'll choose pile number 2. And for pile number 3, we have the Black Tourmaline. If you're into the Black Tourmaline, you'll choose pile number 3. So let's go ahead and get into the readings today. You're welcome to watch more than one pile if you're feeling guided to. And I will go ahead and begin. So let's do it. We'll start with pile numero 1, okay? So we are gonna go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna ring a bell and let's do it. All right. Pile number 1, welcome to your reading. You chose the Labradorite, and today's reading is called Drink the Poison from the Same Vine, Generational Curses. This was a subscriber request reading. Happy to do these for you. If you have suggestions or comments, you can let me know in the description box below. Okay, pile number 1. So no need to be scared, my lovelies. I know this is a very deep topic. It's very much Plutonian type of a topic. It's very much a generational curses or issues in the bloodline. It's also a South Node K2 issue as well. But yeah, anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get into it for my beautiful pile number 1s who shine like a diamond. Let's go ahead and see. Spirits, angels, and guides, please connect me to the energy of pile number 1, who comes here today with an open heart, seeking your guidance. Thank you for allowing me to be the medium in the channel between yourself and pile number 1. Okay, we have the Princess of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. Very independent, being very used to doing things on your own. And we see a very pregnant Princess of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck here too. And I'm already getting something about the balance of power in relationships, perhaps with children, or when people have been having children, or women having to do it all, or women having to carry the load or the weight of things, okay? But let's go ahead, pile number 1, we're just getting started. I'm gonna get into your oracle cards first. And with the principle, the Principal of Pentacles, wow, okay. Maybe some of you had a generational curse with your principal at school, or you had issues with teachers. But with the Princess of Pentacles coming up, there is a particular generational curse, okay? And I don't want to scare anybody, okay? But for some, we see this with the World card with Saturn behind it, And for some of you, this may be infertility in your family, or people trying to have children, get pregnant, people are barren, or people are having to do things on their own, or everyone, somebody's having to carry the weight and everyone else is kind of incapable of doing anything, okay? Because they are not in a position to do anything, either economically, emotionally, they're just, very stripped down, okay? And what I see is an over-reliance on someone that causes a lot of stress, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead. So there may be something with the stress, body, pregnancy, children, stuff like that, already jumping in on that pile number 1. But let's go ahead and see. We have the 2 of Pentacles, okay? Very much a lot to handle with the 2 of Pentacles. The 2 of Pentacles is having a lot of responsibilities and a lot to handle. And the King of Pentacles, wow, okay. Alrighty then. And to me, again, so I made this kind of thing when I started this reading. If I'm seeing court cards, then it means that there is particular people in your family that are carrying the weight of these generational curses, or they've really come through this person for whatever reason. But we see somebody who has an awful lot somebody who has a lot of resources or material things but could help out but doesn't. And I'm seeing that right away. And somebody who possibly hoards things is another thing that I'm seeing here. If you have hoarders in your family, if you have people that, I'm also getting people that hide their wealth, or people that act like they can't be helped or they can't be bothered, or people that have wealth and are watching other people in the family struggle while they have the wealth, okay, or the power. So the King of Pentacles in the tarot is a Virgo, and I always think the King of Pentacles looks like a Taurus, but we're already seeing, very heavy earth energies in this reading. So perhaps you have earth signs in your family, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. But let's see what else we have. Oh, the Empress. Okay. Giving someone everything and taking care of someone else's needs and leaving other people high and dry, or leaving other people to pick up the mess. Okay. I'm already getting something in families where resources are not shared equitably, where I'm also getting an energy of somebody's stepfather who's wealthy, giving a lot of money or giving a lot of resources to the mother or to the other parent while the child is struggling or suffering, okay? Or somebody marrying somebody or getting involved with somebody because of their money or because of the material security that they'll get because of it, and then kind of finding out that they're on their own, or finding out that that doesn't extend to them, that person's generosity doesn't really extend to them. We have here palmistry, fortune, and tarot, collective destiny. The palm lines from birth tell your sacred palmistry. Listen to the notes of intuition. Well, and palmistry, no two people's hands are the same. They're very unique and different. And anyway, juggling material needs versus the spiritual needs that you have, pile number 1, okay? We have here 111, okay? So 111, angels are ready to fully support you in this endeavor so that you can co-create with the universe with a life that you love. So there is something here about being materially and spiritually wealthy and feeling like your needs are provided for and taken care of. Now, the Empress, of course, is a 3 in the tarot, and 111 adds up to 3. So it's like you know, going through a really rough spell or going through days when times are tough, only to be rewarded in the future with something really nice, okay? But I also see perhaps people expecting another person to save them or relying on another person and then getting fucked over because of that, okay? So this is talking about your creative ability. Angels are ready to fully support you in this endeavor so that you can co-create and be successful, okay? And some of you in pile number 1, you're really wanting to carve out your own success in life away from others. You're not wanting, maybe you don't want others to step in and help you out because there's always strings attached. But I feel like some of you in pile number 1, you're really, really wanting to find success. And there may have been people in your family that were more focused on love or marriage or partner and weren't as focused on success. But how can you have both, right? When you have a partner that's very demanding or a partner that's taking up a lot of your time. Anyway, we have great fortune here. Wow. So how can we have such great fortune? Now, this is very interesting, pile number 1, because I have to get out my wand here because I feel like your generational curse that your family may have dealt with is having so much, having everything you need, having all your material needs met, only to like lose it all or to have nothing, you know? And this Princess of Pentacles, you know, she has herself and she has her inner strength. But if you look at the trees behind her, they're completely barren and there isn't a lot left there. And she's very strong. She's very capable. She has her spear and she has her skills, and she knows that in life we see the yin and yang here, and we know that in life there's ups and downs, like the Wheel of Fortune, like great fortune. And you see here this golden statue dumping out all of this money or resources. And so, you know, perhaps in your bloodline, you have a bloodline of people who, if you go back in your ancestry, you'd find out, damn, these people had money, or these people had stature, or these people had, you know, had a lot. These people had everything that they wanted or needed. How come I don't have shit? You know, how come I wasn't born with that? Or how come it's been so hard for me? Okay. And it may be that somebody is getting in the way of another person's independence. I'm just flowing here, pile number 1. So just, you know, rap with me, rhyme with me here as I flow into your reading. But obviously, like, the King of Pentacles and the Empress are both extremely, you know, perhaps your parents came from a wealthy family, or perhaps their parents came from a wealthy family, but it's like it dried up, or it didn't, or somebody was wasteful, perhaps too, you know, had great fortune and had a lot of, you know, material things and successes or happiness, but was very wasteful, you know. And that can definitely, we have the bee and victory, and the honeybee is definitely associated with, you know, with the Empress. And it kind of feels like to me like this Empress has a lot of possibilities and a lot of potential. And I feel like you guys do too. And I think one thing for you guys to realize is things may be tough right now, or they may be lean right now, or things may not be as fruitful perhaps with this Two of Pentacles as you want them to be. But I also feel like your destiny, you know, maybe some of you have had your palms read, but your destiny shows like your sacred plan. And I feel like for pile number 1, there is this plan for you to be like very successful, or for you to be, you know, quite wealthy, or quite, you know, well pampered in this lifetime, and to keep being extremely creative. But I also feel like some of you may be saying, well, in order to be creative, or in order to do what I need to do, I need some help, or I need a loan, the Two of Pentacles, or I need somebody to step in so that I can get started here. Because I don't have enough right now. I've got ideas, Page of Pentacles, I've got things that I'm planning that I want to do, but I need somebody to come in here. And perhaps some of you don't want to do that because I feel you are very independent. And I do feel there could be a resentful attitude at times about money and resources and the way people are spending and the way that people, their attitudes towards this. And people being ungrateful is also another thing that I'm being shown right now. Pile number one is, you know, people having different attitudes towards material things, or you know, towards people who are very wasteful versus people who are very fastidious, okay? We have here courage. Yeah, Two of Pentacles. Like, it's having a lot of courage. Perhaps some of you are needing to stand up to people in your family or people in your genetic line, or there's just been a problem because I feel like there's two people in your family who've just never been questioned, or they've just never been, they've just kind of gone on the way they've gone on. And, you know, I also feel like there could be an expected path in your family too. Like an expected path, you know, if you're an upstanding citizen and you have skills and, you know, you're expected to kind of follow this path. You know, you're supposed to marry this type of person. You're supposed to go to this type of school. You're supposed to, you know, you're supposed to do this, right? And I feel like you guys are kind of deviating, you know, you're deviating a little bit here. And that takes courage, you know, that takes courage. And sometimes people can get too comfortable, you know, that's another thing. People can get lazy and too comfortable with, you know, always having things going their way. You know, some people have a tendency to get very lazy, bloated, and comfortable when things are always happening, you know, when things are always going a certain way, and they rest on their laurels, okay? And when people just kind of do the same thing all the time and rely on the same, you know, resources and the same methods, you know, that's why I think it says here, you are creative. You are actually very creative, pile number one. And perhaps, you know, you're worried, like, if I'm out on my own, like, what will I be seen as successful? Here's the World card. I didn't like what I was studying. Perhaps some of you really didn't care for the path that you were on before, and you're wanting to try something different and do something different, but you're afraid or you're worried that it won't work out or you won't have the support that you need, okay? But we have great fortune and victory. So at some point, I feel, pile number one, your family line was very decorated, or it was very celebrated, or it was held in very high esteem. Okay, and you know, with this Princess of Pentacles sitting here, it's almost like, well, there's nothing left, or what is there left now? And that could be somebody squandering their inheritance, or, you know, making bad decisions, okay? And also, like I mentioned, expectations of the path that you're supposed to take, you know? So Father, wow, okay. So that's a clear message for you guys. So there is some generational curse, some genetic curse or generational curse coming through your paternal line. And, you know, like, there's a close relationship here though. And when I say that, I don't mean to be, you know, I feel some of the masculines in the family could have been attracted to women who really wanted money or wanted resources and drained their money or drained their resources or used up whatever they had. There, you know, there is some kind of generational curse here, pile number one, with your father. And, you know, father could be so busy taking care of mother that father doesn't mother wastes the resources, or mother isn't mother, so father ends up, you know, spending a lot or having to do a lot, okay, but now what, you know? Now what? Now that you are, you know, now that you're here on your own and you're doing your own thing, and, you know, sometimes like courage, right? Father and courage. Fathers are associated with courage. Perhaps some of you had a father that went after, you know, a woman, or there was someone in your genetic line that went after a woman that was far more successful than them, or was under a lot of pressure to work really hard for a particular, you know, person. So there is something here, pile number one. You got something going on here. We have biblical, okay? So something religious perhaps as well. The Empress and the King of Pentacles could be very traditional, okay? Perhaps something with religion. Also, you see the gentleman here is like hammering into concrete, or, you know, hammering. I mean, whatever he's doing is going to take a really, really long time to build. And, you know, seeing that kind of possibly go to the wayside, or to see that fall away, may be a very hard thing to see. Also, with father and biblical, we could have a father that is very strict. Some of you may have had a father that was extremely strict with you, and, you know, maybe wasn't as open-minded. I would say like a drawback of the King of Pentacles is the King of Pentacles can be very set in his ways and very narrow-minded maybe at times too. And there's an expectation that you follow a certain path. Perhaps some of you had a father that was religious, and that is, you know, your paternal side has a religious, you know, genetic curse that goes along with it too, you know. So it's very, like with father and biblical, it's very old school. It's very, very old school. And perhaps some of you had parents or grandparents that were very traditional or very old school in a lot of ways too. And you're different, or you're not wanting to rely on that support system. Perhaps you're wanting to try something different, but it's taking a lot of courage to break through, you know, because success is one thing and doing things the tried and true way is one thing. I also feel like there is a genetic curse with the women as well too. Perhaps wanting to do stuff on their own. You know, back in the day, you know, hundreds of years ago, women could be mothers. That was really the only choice that they had. And there's nothing wrong with being a mother, but, you know, we have great fortune and victory. So, you know, perhaps the emperor or the empress would like to do something on her own and have some of her own independence, you know, and perhaps someone was never really taught the skills to do that, or was made to be kept in line. You know, women being kept in line due to religion is a pretty, you know, is a pretty interesting thing. And there's this need, I feel, to kind of like rebel, you know, but we see the Princess of Pentacles with the World card, and the World card in the tarot has to do with Saturn. Also, the 7 or the 8 of Pentacles is actually, yeah, this is the 8 of Pentacles, is a Virgo card, you know? So there's like an expected way to do things, or perhaps somebody that could be very critical about other people living their lives in a way that doesn't really gel with them, okay? And yeah, you know, I'm getting the imagery of somebody like craving independence. I'm also getting the imagery of somebody eating a lot of sweets, or really being into sweets. And perhaps somebody in the family is diabetic, or having to manage their weight. or something, pile number one, because I'm just getting somebody who maybe like wasteful can also be like eating a lot, or health issues because of nutrition may also play a factor here too. We have women supporting women. Now, this is a very good thing about your bloodline. So, or this is what we need to bring in here, is women supporting women. Now, the Empress is very much a person who could support other women, but does she, is my question. Okay. And, I see four women here, and I see a lot of support going to one person, but perhaps not. So it's like there's a lot of energy or support going to one particular person, but another person who perhaps needs support is forgotten or left out, or not supported the same way. For those of you that have siblings, if you have 3 siblings and they tend to gang up on you, or they tend to, if you sometimes feel like you don't really belong with them, or you sometimes feel that you're not the same as them, I'm also getting that too, for some of you who've had to go through that. But for you guys, what I'm seeing is the courage to be different, and the courage to go your own path without being bitter about it, or without being, just, there's a big part of all of this is acceptance, I feel too. But this is very earthy, like your ancestors very close to the earth. Perhaps they made money with farming or something agricultural, or they had owned like tons of land, I'm just getting that, okay? And there's this whole thing of women supporting women. Is it just a speech that people tell each other, oh, we support each other, we got each other's back? Or is it for real, Can you really count on that, okay? And it says, together we can transcend our individual limitations. Yeah, and that's something that can help to break a generational curse in your family, is if you have siblings, pile number one, and if you guys were to get on the same page with each other, or if you were to, and you're all going to have different situations, but, women supporting women, sometimes people act like they're supporting other women, but they don't, and that's also, we don't need that fakery. But I also feel like somebody feeling maybe a little bit excluded at times, or feeling a little bit left out of things at times, probably because if you're watching this, pile number one, I'm guessing you're the different one, you're the unique one, you're the one that is, independent, or does things on their own, or wants to, okay? And is looking for a sign, or looking for a way to do something. And perhaps you guys would like to find a way to support other women. Perhaps you would like to find a way to help raise up and support and be there for other women as part of, and that is, the whole reading is, what should you do? What's perpetrating these generational curses, and what should you do about it? And perhaps there is, like great karmic relief or great karmic victory, and helping other women, or letting other women help you. And, and really being there for each other, and being able to trust each other. But courage is also needed here. And sometimes it's hard to let go. She has her little hand held on to her dad's finger there. And sometimes it's hard to let go to that safety net, or it's hard to let go of a safety net. And we need sometimes courage feels awkward at first, you know, it feels weird, it feels awkward. And so we need courage in those moments. Now, let me go ahead. I'm going to see what Spirit has to say here for my pile number ones. Okay, well, this wasn't so bad, was it? I mean, I feel there is some stuff here, but, you know, but I also feel like for you guys, perhaps it's not as awful, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I have 2 more piles to go. I feel like your generational curses could be cleaned up in a rather, you know, I feel you could have great success, bee, victory, and bees work together, you know. There's a queen bee, you know, the empress, but all bees work together for the benefit of each other, you know, and somebody's got to be in charge, right? But anyway, pile number 1, very interesting. Who's the queen bee in your family? Who's the matriarch? Who is the queen bee? Because that, and it may not be your mother, it may be someone else, it may be an auntie, it may be a grandmother figure, but somebody in the family is not wanting people to be wasteful or squander inheritances, and wants them to be grateful for what they have and wants them to support other women. Do you have a person like that in your family? Because that person is trying to break generational curses, is what I'm seeing here. It might be you, pile number 2. You may be the person that's trying to have the courage to do that, okay? And perhaps there's one woman in your family. I'm seeing a woman here with dark hair, longer dark hair, like parted down the middle. Perhaps there's one person that doesn't really want to listen, okay? But I also feel your family has a breaker of generational curses, and the Empress is giving birth to more women in the family who are going to be breaking generational curses. And perhaps you guys have given birth and you're teaching your children to break generational curses, and not to like pit women against each other, and not to be in competition like that with other women for a man, or these types of things. Okay, pile number 1. So it's very interesting. But at the same time, I'm getting that the karma isn't so heavy that it can't be transmuted, you know? And perhaps there's already been a lot of work. There's been a lot of courage. There's been a lot of work to try to rectify this already, you know? There's maybe, but I do feel there is somebody who's very set in their ways. Now, it may be a father figure, it may be a brother or 2, but somebody's really set in their ways though at the same time. And you know, the things you do may not have a great effect on that person, but I also feel that there are women in the genetic line of your family who are set up to break these generational curses. Probably you as well, pile number 1, and probably, you know, your next of kin to follow. So let's go ahead and see here for my pile number 1s. Very interesting. What message does Spirit have here? What message does Spirit have here regarding these generational curses for pile number 1? Okay, then we're going to get into your guys's, okay, Prince of Swords on the bottom of the deck. And, oh, you guys got 3 cards. I meant to deal 2, but you got 3. And we have here the 10 of Cups. Yeah, like, I think it's doable. I think that there is, you know, there's doable energy here. The 4 of Wands, yeah. And the 7 of Cups. I mean, there may be a little bit of a obsession about, you know, picking the wrong person or making the wrong choice, or having too much to do. Also, just having or being emotionally overwhelmed at times with the 7 of Cups. But ultimately, I feel like it's okay. There could be somebody who's very over emotional at times, and you know, when you're all together, everyone's having a good time. 10 of Cups, 4 of Wands, everyone's having a good old time. And then, you know, somebody starts worrying too much or getting too worried about abandonment or loss, or they're, you know, sometimes you just have to enjoy the moment and have a nice time, you know, and perhaps like there's like a letting go or an emotional release, but in a very positive way. And, you know, the Four of Wands is very supportive. It's very supportive of everyone's emotional growth, you know, and I feel like you guys have really good intentions, pile number one. You're like, I want to be supportive of everyone's emotional growth, but I don't really know how to do it. And maybe sometimes you feel like your mouth gets the best of you with the Prince of Swords, or you say things and you're worried that you might have hurt someone's feelings, or, you know, at the same time, I feel like it's just good to get out of your head and not worry so much and just enjoy the good moments. And I also feel like, you know, there's so many pets here too. There's cats, there's dogs, there's a gerbil, or like a hamster, a guinea pig, you know, like there's all different kinds. There's a black dog, there's a tan one, there's a black and white cat, a gray cat, a gerbil, you know, like it's like we're all different, or we're all not the same, but yet we know how to get along together, or we know how to make a moment fun. We know how to make a moment nice. And perhaps, you know, animals do add a lot to life. They are, perhaps your family is an animal family, or you had pets growing up, or pets do bring a lot of joy, you know. They're hard work, but they bring a lot of joy, and they are a lot of fun. You know, and this Ten of Cups with the Four of Wands is the Four of Wands is a feeling of coming home to something, and a feeling like you belong, you know. And I mean, I feel like the word with the Seven of Cups here is relax, and don't try to control anything. You know, it's a Venus and Scorpio card, the Seven of Cups. So don't try to control everything or read people's minds, or, you know, sometimes it's just nice to enjoy the moment. And I actually feel pretty good about your guys's, you know, trajectory with this. And you may be wondering, like, am I doing all that I can? Did I fuck up somewhere? You know, am I giving enough attention to this particular thing? I want this so bad. Like, I want everyone to be, you know, healthy and emotionally serene or secure, but I'm just not sure how. Or maybe you're just within yourself wanting to feel more emotionally secure and happy and comfortable, you know. And the Empress definitely has that ability to feel comfortable. So there's a lot of good things. There's a lot of good things, I would say here, pile number one as well, in your family line. There's some nice things. It's not all, you know, it's not all bad, okay? So don't let your emotions kind of over, you know, don't worry, you know, like, I think you're doing just fine, pile number one. I really do. We have a Z here, okay? We have a Z. We have an N. Zen, right? Zen, like getting zen about things, not wondering, like, you know, not wondering so much. We have Zin. Ziffendale, Zin, okay. We have an L, Linz, okay. There could be somebody with Lindsay in your family, or short for Linz, or goes by Linz. Also Lin could be a family name, like as in Lynn. And we have an X, okay. So, you know, exes, relationships, etc. may cause some challenges, or may cause some generational trauma, okay? And I mentioned a stepfather, so someone's actual father, okay, when I say, I know stepfathers can be an actual father too, but the Empress's ex, perhaps ex-baby daddy, or first father of her children, perhaps your guys' mother remarried, or you have a stepdad, but somebody's ex, okay, is up in the mix here too in these generational curses. And You guys are like, oh no, you know, like get them out of there. Yeah, I think it's okay. You know, the Seven of Cups can be a little bit of drama. It's like, sit down, sort it out. It's going to be okay. It's sometimes, the Seven of Cups is the Lord of illusionary success. So it makes us think like, oh, no, everything's great, but then it's not, you know? And that could have been the case with an ex, where it's like, where did I go wrong? Or how did I get fooled into that? And perhaps the Empress has dealt with that. But we have J there. Okay, J. NJ for New Jersey. Perhaps we have some Jersey folks here. And we have a Q. Okay. JQ. We have a D. Lind. Again, like they're trying to spell Lindsay here. We have Din. Maybe someone in your family says Din. Come and have some Din or have some dinner. ID is identity, okay? And focusing, like we said, on being your own person, you know, not being afraid to step out of the mold and do something different is actually good for your family line, okay? And we have Dill, D-I-L-L, and let's see, we also have Jill, Jillian, or Jilly, okay? We have T, okay, we have a T. I'm getting something of somebody being late to a date or late to show up for something. Or identifying with something later. Perhaps some of you identified with the Q here. Perhaps some of you identified as queer later on. But it's almost like you're not too late, pile number 1. You're not too late to the date or anything like that. You're fine. Okay? Actually, I think you're okay. I really do. I'm not seeing anything like it's supremely negative that makes me want to, you know, jump off a cliff or anything like that. But there's some cleanup is what I feel. There's some cleanup, perhaps. We have a V. Okay. Nil. Okay. JV. We have F. IVF. Okay. So I was talking about hereditary things with IVF or having children. You know, and that's a really interesting issue for women supporting women or listening to women and helping each other. Find it. F-I-N-D, find it. Okay. Yeah, Seven of Cups is like, I'll find it later. My head's about to fall off, okay? But I do think you're going to find it. You know, this Ten of Cups with the Four of Wands, this very nice, relaxing, passionate, emotional connection that feels deep. Yeah, finding it. Okay, and perhaps people found their love later in life, or some people in your family, you know, thought that they were with the person that they wanted to be with, but found out later, no, they found out later it's somebody else, okay? We have here M, middle, okay? So middle, and perhaps somebody here is the middle child or in the middle. I also feel like you're in the middle of finding it, whatever it is that you've been looking for. You know, you're in the middle of finding that. And G, light. Okay. LTG, Midge. I'm also seeing the name Midge. There's something about someone sending a DM or a letter, I feel like, to somebody here. GM, grandma. Okay, perhaps your grandmother was this, you know, women supporting women, or was really, I'm getting like somebody identifying as female, but I'm also seeing like a GM, a grandma here coming through for some of you, okay? And who was working on, you know, who's worked on identifying these. Some people work on generational curses and they don't know it. They're just like, I don't want it to be that way, or I don't want things to be that way, okay? I want things to be different for me and my family, you know? And then they start doing the work to make that happen. I'm just gonna get two more. We have a K, we have Kim, okay? And Fit. Okay, and then we have a Y. KY could be Kentucky, okay? And let's see if I'm getting anything else here. MK, okay? IDMK. There's probably a lot of stuff. Phil. I already said the word Meg. Let me see. Gin is here, Gin. Perhaps somebody liked to drink or was into their gin, or, you know, was heavy on that. Sometimes I think just fitting everything in to the day is sometimes hard enough, you know. But okay, I'm also getting one last thing. I feel like some of you have an ex who, somebody could have an ex here who now identifies as gay, or who now likes, you know, likes women or likes men or something like that, but didn't before. I'm also just getting something about that too. So I have to say it. It's like, I'm a little gay is what I'm seeing here. All right. Or somebody who didn't, that's fine. You know, that's fine. We have the old trusty quill here. But anyway, pile number 1, I am going to go ahead and, yeah, with so much goodness in the world, it's hard to choose, isn't it? But anyway, pile number 1, that is what I am going to leave you with for your reading. I hope that that reading resonated for you. And it's a very nice reading. I feel, you know, if you came to this reading expecting to get, you know, pummeled, you know, your spirit guides were mighty kind to you today. So leave me a comment or a feedback if you'd like to on that pile number 1. I'd love to hear your thoughts and prayers, okay? So thank you so much, pile number 1, and take care. Let's move on to pile number 2. Alrighty then. We need these. Pile number 2, welcome to your reading. You chose the Rainbow Aura Quartz, and today's reading is called Drink the Poison from the Same Vine, Generational Curses. When we're talking about generational curses, oftentimes we're really talking about Pluto and the South Node, okay? For those of you that are familiar with astrology, but this was a subscriber request reading, pile number 2, and we're gonna go and find out generationally who's been kind of carrying on these generational curses. We're not trying to hang people out to dry or anything, but we're just going to take a look at it, okay? Everybody is carrying generational curses, I feel, to a certain extent, okay? Some more than others. And then what should you do about it? You know, what's kind of, after we describe the situation, what should you do about it, okay? So let's go ahead and channel it in for pile number 2, please. Spirits, angels, and guides, please connect me to the energy of pile number 2, who comes here with an open heart, seeking your guidance. Thank you for allowing me to be the medium in the channel between yourself and pile number 1. Anyway, I just almost had a burp. Pile number 1, maybe you have been burping a lot today, or you have, maybe some of you have felt a little nauseous or something. But anyway, pile number 1, I am gonna, sometimes it just pops out of nowhere and I'm like, okay then, alrighty then. Let's do it. Pile number, I just called you pile number 1. Pile number 2, we're starting off messy, it's okay. We can always be a little bit messy and disorganized and kind of pull it together. Let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. We have the 2 of Pentacles came up in pile number 1 as well. But this 2 of Pentacles looks like she's having a good time, okay? like there's a lot of extreme focus and concentration in the middle of, perhaps you guys are multitaskers and you handle a lot, or you handle a lot of details, or there's a lot of stuff that you've been trying to manage recently, pile number 2. But let's go ahead and see. You know, sometimes the 2 of Pentacles, like we can exhaust ourselves trying to do too much or trying to grow something too quickly. But I mean, at the same time, there's, it takes a lot of focus and discipline and skill to keep things moving, you know. And I feel like we have some mutable signs here. I'm getting Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, okay? But let's go ahead and see for my pile number 2s. We've got the Page of Pentacles. Wow, Page of Pentacles came up in last reading. We have the Ace of Wands. So really having a big breakthrough, a really massive break. Ooh, there's the Ace of Pentacles. Wow, new beginnings, a fresh start. And the pages are the thrones for all the aces. So the pages really carry out the energy that's present in the aces. And you have the Ace of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles here. And what I'm getting is, you know, actually Spirit wanting to talk to you guys about your talents, your gifts, your skills. I'm also getting the energy of people who come into a new environment with not a lot to lose, but a lot to gain. And perhaps in your family, you come from an immigrant family, or you come from a family that moved, you know, like, and you know, there's something here with the Page of Pentacles about getting in touch with your roots again. And perhaps some of that got lost in the pursuit of, you know, dreams and goals and ambitions and desires. And the Ace of Pentacles is definitely about wanting to feel security. And the Ace of Wands is about wanting to feel excitement. And sometimes you guys may go back and forth with the 2 of Pentacles. Like, do I go with the you know, do I make the responsible choice, or do I do the thing that I really want to do? You know, do I really just dive into something here, or do I, you know, because something, I feel like there's a very enterprising spirit in your family. Perhaps there's entrepreneurs in your family. Perhaps there's people in your family like first generation to go to college. You know, I'm getting like, you know, people that can work really hard with the Page of Pentacles is all about that dedication and hard work paying off. And, you know, I feel like there's already been people ahead of you, pile number 2, that perhaps broke generational curses in a large way. And I feel some of you are just not wanting to disappoint anybody, okay? Or you're wanting to live up to the high expectations that you have set for yourself. And you don't want to like waste anything in it. So let me see pile number 2. Let's see what else we have here. We have Draw Down the Moon. The forest nymphs dance in sheer delight, singing soft songs. Find us in the wild, good night. Find us in the wild, good night. That's funny. Singing soft songs. And perhaps some of you here like to sing, or you have some very, you know, I mean, the Ace of Wands is very exciting, right? Find us in the wild, good night. Yeah, perhaps, you know, perhaps there's this thing of like, you know, and I talked about like being out in the wild or going to live somewhere else, or, you know, being on your own for a long time. Perhaps some of you have been on your own for a long time, or you moved out of your family's home like very early on, or you had a desire to. And, you know, there's something about curiosity, right? That really like enlivens our soul, and seeing like, can I really do this? Should I really try this? Like, you know, but I feel like, you know, you're at a really good point though, pile. I'm really proud of you guys. I was proud of pile number 1 because I feel like you're at a good point, or you're getting to a clean slate, you know? So let's see what else we have here. We have 6-6, I am positive. Ace of Wands, very positive, absolutely. Your guardian angel is teaching you the essence of unconditional love. You are encouraged to have faith that the universe will provide for you while you're manifesting your inner desires, right? So not letting things get you down, not letting going, oh, this is taking forever, Page of Pentacles, like Ace of Pentacles, the universe will deliver and provide. And, you know, the Ace of Wands is about manifesting your inner desires. And your inner desires are worth manifesting, for sure. If you're like, well, I don't know, you know, like I'm having to really hold on and keep the faith and really trust, and sometimes I'm not sure. And it's like, no, you know, like the idea is, and perhaps maybe in some generations before, people were not staying positive, or they weren't carpe diem very well, seize the day. Although I feel that there are people in your family who do stay positive and do seize the day and do jump on things. And those people are going to be the generational curse breakers. They really are. The people that go and start and do new things and are ever curious about the world. We have journey. Wow. And look at this. Look at somebody getting on a train and taking off and going to a different place and, you know, leaving what they have behind. And, you know, perhaps, you know, at one point, family members got separated from each other, you know, and it's hard always having to start over. It's hard to rebuild. I do get that. And, you know, when people do move away or move to a different place or settle in a different land, you know, they lose a lot. There's a lot that's lost there too. They go because of the opportunities and because of what's available, but there's also this whole other thing that you're leaving behind in a way in pursuit of, you know, greener pastures. And so, you know, there is this, and there may be a bit of a wanderlust, or there may be a bit of a, like, finding it hard to maybe settle in one place, okay? Pile number 2, very interesting. We have Dove and forgiveness. Wow. Wow. Okay, so if somebody had to leave or somebody had to go, you know, perhaps somebody was on the road a lot or worked on the road a lot or had to be away from family a lot because of work, and people were really, really missing that person. This is the number 10. Some of you, your fathers, or there was an important family member or a father figure who was missing a lot or had to be gone a lot, okay, because of work or things going on, and was really trying to work hard to work towards that ladder of success, you know. And some people considering that journey maybe even before, like maybe even jumping the gun a little bit and then finding out, wow, this is a lot, you know, harder than it was, or I wasn't ready for that. And so now I have to start over again. You know, like there's a lot of like starting to lose, to start to lose, you know, this type of thing. And, you know, with the Dove though, I feel it's very beautiful with the Dove though. There is a great need to want to be together, and there is a great need to want to dote on one another, or to, you know, or to be together again, and to be around each other again, and to not forget each other, you know. And there's a very special power in love and forgiveness. And yeah, we see two people, one who, and it may be a little hard to relate, because when people come back from things, they're often very different, and their life experiences have led them in different ways. It's even like somebody going off into the military and being shipped away for a while, or somebody's on the road, or somebody, you know, goes and does something. And, you know, life taints us with experience in a good way, but also sometimes maybe we feel like we're not relating as well to people again because we have this need or want to go, but feel like other people don't want us to go, or we won't be forgiven if we go, You know, it's all as well, though, I feel, with forgiveness, you know, and forgiveness is a way to break generational curses in your family line and to try to understand each other, even though people may be different, is also what I'm seeing here. We have Earth. Wow, interesting. The forest nymphs are dancing in sheer delight, singing soft. So Earth is all about finding a secure place to put down your roots, you know, and perhaps there were people that didn't, you know, I see this in your genetic line about people going and starting something new, thinking it will work, but perhaps it doesn't. Perhaps it's a lot harder, you know. And there is this dichotomy, this trade-off with the Two of Pentacles between seeking security but also seeking adventure, and but there also could be with Earth this whole thing of somebody got left behind or guilt about somebody leaving something behind. Okay, but let's see what else. We have lessons and blessings. Wow. And then we see the clock here and lessons that are learned, right? Because if we just dive into things without questioning them and we're just totally like, you know, really quick on the trigger, then sometimes through our failures, you know, and there may have been failures or there may have been, you know, things that took longer than expected. But at the same time, I do feel there is a tremendous capacity for love and forgiveness in your genetic line as well, too. And, you know, our lessons made blessings. And the Page of Pentacles definitely knows how to study and be open to the lessons and be open to change, right? And, you know, the Page of Pentacles represents the earthy part of Earth. So it's not necessarily changing at a very fast rate versus other people in the family who may crave more adventure, excitement, experience, change, etc. So we learn from each other. And that's what I feel like goes on in your genetic line, is this learning. We have to learn from each other. You know, we want to stay positive and stay upbeat and optimistic, but we also want to be realistic and, you know, faithful in the things that we're committing to. And we have here knighthood. Wow, interesting. Pile number 2. So knighthood is very much about honor and dignity and respect, you know, and protection. And knights would oftentimes, you know, be away from their family for a while because they'd be off, you know, defending the homeland or off, you know, doing whatever it is that in battle or, you know, serving or working for the king or whatever it is, right? But somebody who takes their duties very seriously, you know, and that's what's happening, right? Is taking, but I also feel like it might have swung over to this pendulum of taking everything really seriously or taking, and there's still this like, find us in the wild, good night, you know, singing soft songs, dancing in sheer delight. And so there is that whole thing of like needing to let go and embrace, you know, because this knighthood, this is very serious, you know, like somebody made a mistake or an error or had a failure, and now all of a sudden they may have gotten very serious minded or closed off to things or very stubborn about things or not really wanting, you know, I feel like somebody could have not wanted to see their mistakes and just kept going and just kept doing something without really checking in with anyone else. Like, is this okay? Or, you know, like just kind of kept pursuing something out of sheer, you know, stubbornness. I also feel, you know, knights are very clever as well, too. They need to be quick. They need to make decisions. And sometimes decisions can be made too quickly, and then we're forced to, you know, we're forced to learn some serious lessons and about taking our time and really showing up for our commitments, you know. So very interesting. Protection, honor, loyalty, all these things very important in your family line. And I feel like somebody like dropped the ball perhaps, or failed in that, or made an error in judgment, and it may have caused hardship on others in the family, pile number 2. But I also feel like, you know, we gotta leave room for each other to grow and make mistakes and, you know, try different things. Like, we just can't we don't want to get too militant about our own opinions or views and not be open to other people's thoughts and ideas, you know? Like, people can get very stubborn as well, too. And we have here responding and not reacting. Yeah, so that's a very patience, right? The Page of Pentacles speaks of patience, and you know, the Ace of Wands can be more reactive, or could be more like quick to react on something. And it says here, responding, not reacting. The only control we have is in how we respond to the hand that we're dealt. Okay, and some of you here might just be like, ugh, this person is so frustrating. They just don't freaking get it. You know, like, they don't get what I'm saying. They don't get what I'm doing. They just don't get it, you know? And I do see 2 people here. Perhaps it's you and a sibling. Perhaps you and a sibling are close, but, you know, you both came from the same place. You drink the poison from the same vine. You see you both coming out of the birth canal here, you know, but it's very interesting. And it's like somebody reminding in the family, like somebody, this may be you, pile number 2, who reminds people to be kind to one another and to respond patiently and kindly and openly and open-mindedly, okay, without cutting down other people, or without, you know, rubbing people's mistakes in their face, or without being stubborn and unwilling to see something. Also, I am getting somebody who works really hard but refuses to give up on something, even though they're being mentally stubborn because they don't want to give up on something, but it may not be great for their health. It may not be great for their mindset. It may exhaust them or wear them out with the 2 of Pentacles, okay? But I do feel like somebody is taking a responsibility or taking a promise seriously, and they don't want to give up on it, okay? Which is great, but also at the same time too, like, sometimes we do need to look at things in a different way. Sometimes we do need the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles. Sometimes we do need some new energy, you know, and sometimes we do need, like, we do need to look at things in a different way. And perhaps, you know, there is this whole thing of being controlling, you know, and I can see that with this knighthood and lessons and blessings, and saying the only control we have is how we will respond to the hand that we're dealt. And, you know, perhaps there's been some failures or some deep lessons along the way. And, you know, the only control, like, we're born into the family that we're born into. We don't have a whole lot of control over it, but we can learn to respond in ways that are more like being an example, you know, being an example for other people, and showing up and being there for people. And with Earth, we have lessons around commitment, responsibility, dependability, altruism, like with the Page of Pentacles. And yeah, but I feel like somebody trying to reason with another person in the family, or trying to point out to them, hey, you need to change this, or we need to do something different here. But then there's a person who's not listening or isn't open-minded to that, okay? And people learn through their failures and mistakes and their issues. They definitely do, pile number 2. But sometimes we have to stand back and let people, you know, let people work that out on their own. And I do feel like, you know, if there was any type of curtness or harshness, or people like two people being so different that they don't really understand each other that well. I do feel like that can be resolved through responding and not reacting and approaching things in a positive manner, you know? Actually, you guys are doing good too. Like, I'm not feeling that these are generational curses that are going to, you know, I get that it's frustrating or irritating at times, the way that people may think or see things, but I feel this can be overcome, pile number 2. I really do. And let's go ahead and see. Can you tell me, Spirit, what should pile number 2 do? What should pile number 2 do about this generational curse? Okay. You know, being too stubborn, not listening, you know, going to the nth degree and then figuring out after the fact, oh shit, I fucked up, you know. Forgiveness, the Knight of Cups, allowing people to make mistakes, allowing people to soften, you know, and the Knights are pretty serious, you know, they're allowing people to soften and kind of to speak emotionally and to speak freely, and allowing the situation to soften a little bit is what I'm seeing. We have the 10 of Swords. Oh boy. We have this Sun. Okay. You know, sometimes like, I feel you're part of a generational curse breaker, pile number 2, because you remind people, hey, you know, it's not that bad. Hey, it's gonna be okay. Hey, don't give up, okay? And hey, like, I know you're down, but you're not out. And I feel like you do a beautiful job of that. And there may be a female in your family that has a very sunny disposition, or it reminds people like, hey, you know, there's a lot to smile about. There's a lot to be grateful for. There is a lot to be, you know, I almost feel like somebody's saying, hey, you don't have to live this way. Life could be better. Life doesn't have to be so hard. Life can be kinder. Life can be gentler. And we have the 8 of Cups here. And I feel like you guys worry about somebody in the family. You may worry about their health. You may worry that they're overworking themselves, or they're overdoing things, or, you know, that they've just taken on way too much, okay? And the Sun and the 10 of Swords are about as opposite as you could get. Like somebody who's always down, or somebody who thinks, oh God, life is, you know, life is over. I made this mistake and now I'm nothing, you know? Looks like the word matt is here. It's so funny, M-A-T-T. But I feel like, you know, we got to remind each other, hey, you know, and somebody may get annoyed with another person's positivity or can-do spirit, but I do feel like perhaps you are a very positive can-do, let's keep going, let's keep pushing forward type of a human being. Pile number 2, perhaps you have some really nice side boob as well, because I'm seeing that here. Perhaps some of you have that going on for yourself too, a very gorgeous hair, you know, and you're reminding people like, you know, the drama queens of the family, or the things are never going to get better, or everything sucks, you know, and it's like, hey, it's not that bad. You know, every day alive is a chance to do something different. And perhaps there's this need to want to show people how they're self-sabotaging, or turn them on, like let them, because the Sun is also higher intelligence. So it's like, I want to show this other person perhaps where they're self-sabotaging, or perhaps where they have the wrong idea about a situation, or that type of thing. You know, like I want to show this person, but also too, I'm getting the word toxic positivity. We don't want to do that. Hopefully there's no, you know, toxic positivity in the family where everyone has to act like they're fine when they're not. That's a bunch of BS. But there is like, I do see this thing of wanting to cheer people up or wanting to show people the positive side of something. And, you know, and perhaps you and another person in your family, maybe you rub each other the wrong way at times with the things that you say to each other, or, you know, you may switch off roles sometimes where it's just like one person's down, the other person's up. And also just there may be people looking down on other people because they're not happy or they're having a bad time. These are things we don't want to do. I mean, we want to be positive, but we also want to be realistic. And there may be people, you know, the Ten of Swords, this is kind of a victim-y Ten of Swords. So some people kind of get off at times on, you know, woe is me and woe is everything, and there's nothing I can do to change anything. And I feel a generational curse breaker is like, no, you can change. See, just do it this way. It'll be so much better. But then that may just cause that person to go farther away from you. With the Eight of Cups, that may just cause that person to, like, you know, it may just cause that person to kind of move away, or to just kind of like not want to talk or disassociate is kind of what I'm seeing. There may be some disassociation in your family and as a generational curse at times, or having to put on a happy face even though things are very struggling. There may be this thing of, well, I have to remain positive for other people, or I have to, you know, remain positive because if I don't, no one else will, you know. And the Eight of Cups wouldn't be when we're carrying a lot of emotional burden and we feel very heavy with that emotional burden, and we're wondering, like, when is my family going to change? You know, this person's looking up at the moon, and the moon is like, you know, my family, right? And it's like, when is my family going to change? And maybe some of you have thought, you know, I need to take a break for a while. I can't play, and it's not good to play savior anyway. Like, we don't want to be in a victim, you know, where that someone in the family is the victim and the other people are showing up as the savior, and we're getting into this dynamic all the time. We want to be a little bit, I mean, there's this need to want to be there for each other, to be loyal and committed, and I think that that's really good. But I think we just have to be careful of, I also see maybe a tendency for other people's down moods or downcast moods to start affecting you, or being like, well, maybe I don't like my life, or maybe this isn't good, or, you know, like, you pop in and you're all happy, and then the other person's just wah wah. And, you know, and perhaps some of you as a kid felt that you had to be happy at times, even though you weren't happy, or there were emotional things that, and you know, the Eight of Cups can talk about having a lot of trapped emotions, and the Ten of Swords can talk about having a lot of, you know, negative thought patterns. So it's like overwhelming emotions, negative thought patterns, but yet the sun, everything's okay, you know. And this is where it can be people are not like sharing how they're really feeling or really doing, or they're holding things inside, you know. And I feel for some of you, if you're like always the one showing up, trying to be there for people, being the reliable one, being the one who is, you know, trying to help or trying to fix situations, and it gets exhausting and it gets emotionally tedious and this type of thing, I do think you need to pull back your energy in those cases, pile number 2. And I do think if you're trying to help people, that's awesome, but you also sometimes have to just let people, and I know you're doing it because you care, Knight of Cups, but I also feel like sometimes we just have to let people be themselves, you know? Some people are just going through a phase, or maybe they've been going through a phase for 10 years, the Ten of Swords, or they've been going through, they've been like this for a while. And, you know, it's nice of you to want to help or to be there or whatever, but I also just feel like if it's really stressing you out or frustrating you, then, you know, the Eight of Cups can talk about getting some emotional distance from something. But there may be this feeling like it's bugging me. I really want to talk to this person, or this distance is bothering me. Or I wish things could be different, or, you know, and the idea here with the Sun is to let people be who they are and not try to save them, and let them, you know, and let them be who they are, right? Just, and you be who you are. And to not like give up, but not to sit around and wait for people to change either. The Eight of Cups can show some type of disappointment, like I disappointed people because of my failure and now I don't want to see people or talk to people. But I also feel like all is forgiven too, pile number 2, okay? And I mean, I actually feel like the Ten of Swords can be very rough, very, very rough, but it's rarely as bad as it seems, you know? It's kind of like, hey there, old chap, you know, why don't you get up and make yourself a cup of coffee, or walk down to the bookstore, or, you know what I mean? It's like, hey there, hey there, old chap, right? And yeah, I think you got a lot to focus on your own self here, okay? And the Knight of Cups is very caring, very devotional, very dedicated. And, you know, the Knight of Cups out of all the Knights could almost be too dedicated in a way, or too plugged in, or too, you know, maybe even a little bit borderline codependent or something like that, pile number 2. But at the same time, I think, you know, the Knight of Cups comes in the right spirit of seeking forgiveness and seeking, you know, emotional, perhaps there's some type of emotional validation. And it's like, you didn't see how I was suffering, and now I feel like emotionally detached, you know. But I do think that there is forgiveness, okay? I do think there is forgiveness here, pile number 2. Let's go ahead and get some initials. It's not as bad, I feel. It's nothing that can't be overcome or just left alone for a while so that you can, you know, concentrate on the stuff you're working on, at least. You know, we have a Y here. We have an X. Oh boy. So an X is getting involved. Your X is getting somehow, and perhaps some of you guys choose an X that, or have exes that are always in crisis, that are always having issues, that are always, you know, having major problems in their life. And you're like, I never really get what I need from these people emotionally, you know. And it's time to invest in yourself with the Page of Pentacles. And we have a C here, a C, a C. We have a T, okay, YCT. And we have a K, okay, YCTK. CT could be Connecticut. Perhaps people have family members there. I was looking for the YMCA there with the YC, okay? With KT, we could have Kate, Kat, or Kate. Let's see what else we have here. We have an E, yet to see something, okay? And we have a Q, YEQ. We have an R, okay? Ray, R-E, raise or ray. Rector, I don't know what all that is. Rectification. We have a Z. And we have a D, okay? DEC, December. Perhaps somebody here has a birthday in December. We've got some December folks here, okay? We have Ted. We have the name Ted. We have Red, R-E-D. okay? Which could be somebody getting mad because the other person isn't listening or isn't hearing them, or, you know, and then there's periods of not talking. I feel like it's okay. It's okay to get frustrated, but it's okay to forgive too, you know? And I'll recall what my boyfriend said to me one time. It's okay to let some things go. You know that? And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, sure. It'll be fine. I was like, all right. And, but yeah, people point out different things, you know, if you're a person that tends to hang on, like we have Beck or Becky here. We also have bed, a red bed. Perhaps somebody had a red bed. We have the name Deb here. And, true, if we had a U here, we'd have true. And you know what I'm getting is somebody who's like, you know, I'm not just a dumb blonde, DB, okay? I know what I'm doing, all right? And maybe sometimes people pegged you that way because I'm getting something about that right now through these letters. And better, B-E-T-T-R, better. A better day ahead, you know, and a better bed. Perhaps some of you are needing a better bed. I'm also feeling I'm feeling the name Karen. There could be a Karen in the family somewhere. Let's see what else we have here. I hope we get an N so that we have a nerd or nerds, because I would like that. Perhaps there's some nerds in your family with the Page of Pentacles, or people that like to study or do different things. Maybe you're a nerd too, and you're like, I'm far from that, like a dumb blonde or whatever. Like, you know, I mean, with the sun, we want the respect that we deserve. And perhaps at times there's frustration with that. You know, it's like, I do know what I'm talking about. And I'm also seeing something about True Blood here. Perhaps some of you like that old show, True Blood. I'm just seeing that right now. But anyway, we have an L, a letter, L-E-T-T-R. Perhaps some of you got a letter from a family member. I'm also seeing little black dress, LBD, all right? So somebody has a little black dress. Red letter, like the red letter, like the scarlet letter. That's interesting, the red letter. Fascinating. I just like seeing everything here. Let's see. There's something about let, L-E-T, and then C-T-R-L, like let control, or something about letting go of control. Or, you know, it says here, the only control we have is in how we respond to the hand that we're dealt, right? And, or the only control we have is how we respond, not, you know, how we respond to something and not overreacting to something either. And let's see, we have tell, T-E-L-L, teller. We also have teller. Perhaps somebody here worked at a bank, BK, or was a teller, a bank teller. Cred or credit. Let's see. Yell, Y-E-L-L. Perhaps people can yell. Like the knighthood card there is pretty stressful, or pretty, you know, like specific to their point of view. Perhaps there's yelling sometimes, or people were using yelling as a way to control, and you know, that's never right. That's never good, you know. Lecture. I'm also seeing the word lecture here. People yelling or lecturing each other all the time. I'm also seeing the word bell. Bell. Could be Isabel or Bella, or just the word bell. Let's see. You know, getting credit for the things that you do. Pile number 2, getting recognized for the things that you do. And we have an N here. Interesting. I mentioned N, nerd, N-E-R-D, nerd. There it is. There's the N I was talking about. So nerd, you know, like people who are nerds, like far from it. I feel like you know a lot. Like you're not a dumb whoever, like you know a lot, I feel like, pile number 2. And it's not fair that if people did treat you that way. We have bled here, B-L-E-D, bled or bleed, okay? Perhaps bleeding or yelling or making a scene or whatever happened there. Better control. Yeah, I'm seeing better control, like somebody having better control over themselves. And that's a way to help break generational curses and understanding each other too. We have deer, D-E-R, deer. Deer, very calm, peaceful, beautiful, graceful, very lovely creatures. Perhaps you had deer around when you were growing up, but I'm also seeing something about detective. Perhaps somebody was like a detective or is a detective. And let's see, anything else that I am getting? Blue, I feel like blue is here. Red and blue are here. BL. I'm trying to see baby daddy X, okay? For those of you that have a baby daddy X, perhaps you saw some of the patterns in your family repeated with that person, but there's always, you know, there's always chances to grow, always. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and, Erin, E-R, and then we're missing the I, but E-R-I-N. I'm also seeing that here. Okay, I think I'm gonna go, perhaps BD could be birthday. Perhaps some of you will receive a letter on your birthday from someone that you've been missing. 8 of Cups, okay? But pile number 2, this is what I am getting for you, my friends. And I definitely feel like whatever generational curses have been around, I feel like, you know, I feel like you guys are aware of them. I don't feel like I told you anything different. I'm not feeling like horrible about any of this, pile number 2. I think there's things to be aware of, and I think there's times to withdraw your energy if needed, you know, so you don't get, so you can stay focused first and foremost, all right? So, and some of you with the Knight of Cups here may be receiving an apology from somebody in your family, okay? So that's just what I'm getting. Yeah, 3 of Swords, somebody's heart's broken. But anyway, pile number 2, that is what I am getting for you, my friends. I hope that that reading resonated, and I'd love to hear any feedback or comments that you have. All right, let's go ahead and move on to pile number 3. Let's do it. All righty. Pile number 3, welcome to your reading. You chose the black tourmaline, and today's reading is called Drink the Poison from the Same Vine, Generational Curses. This is a subscriber request, and the question was who in the family is kind of perpetrating some of these generational curses. I mean, we all carry them, we all got them, we all have past karma, we all have a Pluto in our chart, we all have South Node, K2 in our chart. We're all got our karma. And if we didn't, we wouldn't need to incarnate anymore. So, you know, there we are. We're all here together. But but the question is, who in the family is working on this, or who has this? And then what should you do about it? What should you do as a result of generational trauma? Okay, pile number 3. So we're going to go ahead and get into your reading. Spirits, angels, and guides, please connect me to the energy for my pile number 3s. Stick around. We'll do initials at the end of your pile to verify your reading. So let's go ahead and jump into pile number 3. The Wheel of Fortune. Oh my, I like it. I do like that. The Wheel of Fortune is, you know, about changes in our fate, changes in our destiny. that we don't necessarily control, but a higher power or an organizing principle in the universe is controlling. And the Wheel of Fortune is also about changes in destiny, and it is Jupiter. So it talks about the blessings and the benefits. And I feel like you guys have some generational blessings and benefits coming through as well. I'm also seeing a connection to the desert, or a connection to Mediterranean cultures, perhaps a past life thing, Greco-Roman. I'm seeing that right now. So anyway, pile number 3, let's go ahead and get into your reading. You chose the black tourmaline. We will continue along here. We have the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so I told myself if there was court cards that came out, it means there's a specific person that really has that generational curse, or really has had to deal with that, or has had to break it, but it's identifying a particular person. Now, the Queen of Pentacles in the tarot is a Capricorn. However, it's, you know, it's a person who's very, like, I actually feel this Queen of Pentacles could be actually very creative, but it's somebody who has to be very responsible, somebody who has to be very determined and committed, and not committed in the bad way, you know, like committed. You guys know what I mean. I made a joke, haha, funny me. But somebody who is very determined, dedicated, working to grow themselves and their lives, and is working on their healing and working on their internal presence within, is what I feel. But the Queen of Pentacles could also talk about a mother figure, or a, you know, a grandmother or a mother figure, or your maternal line, where there is some generational trauma or generational curses that have, and when I say curses, that's really, you know, it's more like generational trauma, which is more of a Plutonian thing. But, you know, the Queen of Pentacles definitely knows how to handle pressure gracefully and handle it with skill. But let's see what else we have here. And it's very emotional, actually. The Queen of Pentacles, deeply emotional. We have the Emperor here, which I can already feel is like someone not recognizing the other person's needs, or somebody who is very cold in relationships, or somebody who is very like traditional, cold, or not really there. Perhaps, no, the Emperor is there, but the Emperor may also be very disconnected from emotion. It's Aries. The Emperor is Aries. So it's kind of like, I've got things to do. I've got goals to accomplish. I get bored easily. I've got 1,000 different things I need to work on and fix and focus. And I have a specific vision for my life. And if you don't fit into it, then I don't really, you know, I don't really see what's the point of you. And there may be some type of rejection thing going on here with daughters and fathers, or fathers that are there but are very cold, or, you know, two parents generationally who are only together because of practical issues or because of the family, but the love has really dried up. The Emperor is very, very dry. In fact, in this particular Emperor, you don't even see the small, tiny little stream of water you normally see. So it's like things have really dried up. You know, you see the sacred mountains of achievement in the background. So somebody who really values like achievement and growth and all of this type of stuff, or really values ambition. But somebody who's not very good at recognizing that their partner feels, you know, devalued, or doesn't feel connected emotionally, or just doesn't feel like loved. Or we could also be talking about marriages that are very like sexless, or marriages that are together because out of like commitment, or out of, you know, needing to take care of the kids, that type of thing. But there's not really much else that's keeping them together. And I also see the maternal side being very sensitive and very dedicated, but also feeling like they're missing something in their life. And the Wheel of Fortune can show where there's unlimited possibilities, but we're not doing them because we're kind of stuck with the life that we've been given, you know. And that could also be like kind of giving up on ourselves, or just thinking, well, I'm just stuck here, or this is the way that it is. And perhaps in your maternal line, people that had real skill, or people that knew how to do certain things, but weren't ever able to kind of pursue the dreams or the visions, or the, you know, perhaps wanting to travel, perhaps wanting to envision themselves as something besides like just a mother or just a nurturer, you know, and having a lot of unacknowledged dreams, and being with partners who are like very disappointing is kind of what I'm getting, and possibly sexually disappointing as well. And having unfulfilled sexual needs is something I'm getting here too. Okay, so I just have to tell you guys what I'm getting. Oh, and look at the Fool, right? And look at that. Like wanting to start over, like being stuck in something because of commitments and responsibilities, but also really wanting to start over and bring in some fresh, new energy. And, you know, the Fool is about having limitless possibilities. It's about being arms wide open. It's about, you know, rising above everything. Like you're at the point when you're with spirit. You're not even in your own thoughts anymore. You're just completely embracing a different journey. You're not even, you're above it all, essentially, right? And so there's a need to break free, I feel like, with the Fool. And it's almost like wishing that you could make a different decision, or wishing that you could start over, you know. And perhaps two people are together, or two situations came together out of necessity, but and perhaps jumping into something very quickly as well, and committing into something very quickly as well, and then kind of finding out like, I'm stuck, you know. And wishing, you know, like the whole thing is we get to the end of our lives, and then we sit there with unfulfilled wishes, and we sit there with regrets, or we sit there wondering what if, you know. And the Fool is a big question mark, you know. And it's like, if I would have made that choice, how would have my life been different? And you know, perhaps the maternal side being a little bit passive about, you know, exploration. And the masculine kind of like overworking, or over, you know, the masculine denying. You know, there's some level of, I feel there's some level of sexual rejection. I just got to be straight up going on. And perhaps that has been something of a generational trauma of, you know, getting comfortable, you know, because the Fool is kind of freaky. I just got to say, like, the Fool is more of a, you know, unique kind of an influence. And it's very, the Fool's modern association is Uranus. And so it's very freaky and different and unusual. And it brings a blast of fresh energy into situations. And it's like, oh no, I couldn't do that. I couldn't imagine, you know. And I also feel like picking someone else, there could be some rejection in relationships because someone chose someone else selfishly over another person, and made them feel very rejected, and then they never really got over it. Or someone's father left their mother, you know, to go do something else, and you know, mom never got over it. Like, these types of things is what I'm already seeing kind of coming out. And you know, there's a difference between like passively accepting our fate and just continuing to put one foot in front of another, and taking because it's like, you know, expected, or because it's the easy route, you know, keeping our dreams and our emotions and our goals to ourselves. But then there's always this what if in the background, you know? So there could be something about that here too. And, you know, the Emperor likes to be in control. So there could also be anger about, you know, like kind of expectations. Like, I expect people to behave in this way because I'm the boss, I'm the one in charge, I'm running things, and doesn't appreciate people deviating from things. And I'm kind of seeing this, you know, in a lot of the readings here, pile number 3, about people wanting to deviate from something or wanting to do something different. Okay, but let's see here. We have a cure for longing. Oh my God. Yep, that's the whole thing. I've been talking about longing, and it couldn't have summed it up even better. Love is happiness, a spark inside. Live deliberately and choose boldly. Then you have arrived. Okay? So there is a need here with this Emperor to assert your will, or to assert your destiny, or to make a solid plan based on another choice, you know? Love is happiness, a spark inside. Live deliberately, not passively. Choose boldly for yourself, and then you have arrived, okay? And the Fool is all about choosing boldly. And like I said, this Queen of Pentacles longing for something that this Emperor cannot give. And then having to, you know, assert yourself and take charge of your life, and maybe be on your own for a while. Like, you know, some people choose the safety of a relationship even though they're not growing. And that's the thing with the Fool. The Fool forces us to grow and gets us out of our comfort zone. And so there may be some of this energy in your family, pile number 3, or some generational curse that generations prior dealt with. Your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your mother, you know, like emotional coldness, and perhaps you're just like, you know, the Fool is a circuit breaker. The Fool is like, hey, I'm doing shit differently. You know, I'm not living my life that way. And a cure for longing. How interesting. I am adventurous. Wow. Yeah. And that's the Wheel of Fortune, right? Like to travel, like to go, like to do things, like to explore. It says, you have a zest for life. Yes, the Fool. And you are eager to experience anything and everything possible. You love change and excitement, and need both to feel truly alive, okay? And there's this generational curse of feeling dead inside, or feeling burdened, or not feeling trapped, you know? And you love change and excitement and need both to feel truly alive. For you, life is an adventure to be lived to the fullest. I am adventurous. And perhaps some of you have family members that really just don't understand that about you. You know, perhaps your parents were very conventional, or perhaps, you know, it's like the prodigal son returns, or the prodigal daughter returns, you know, and it's like, I mean, perhaps if some of you left home at 23 to travel the world, perhaps one of your parents wanted to leave home and travel the world at 23. I mean, it's just saying, we need to have a zest for life and a sense of adventure. And if things get too stifled, then we feel dead inside. And that's a generational curse of heaviness that we don't really want to take on. Now, the Emperor is all about taking action. And so taking action, stating your authority, stating what you want, stating what you need, and then doing it. You know, put your money where your mouth is type of thing. Ooh, we have a false person. Rut-row, shaggy, okay? So there is somebody who is a false person, and I feel like it's a masculine. I feel like it is a masculine energy, and I feel like it's an energy that like woos, could have wooed your mother or wooed your grandmother, great grandmother, going down the line, but it's like deep within, intuitively knowing. Okay, and some of you could have Scorpios in your family as well. We have Aries and Scorpio here. We also have Capricorn with the Queen of Pentacles. Somebody here could have Scorpio in their chart, because this is about like discovering that it's almost like somebody got tricked into a life. Like, oh, this person promising adventure, fun, or promising all these things, and it wasn't that. So there definitely is a false person, okay? And this could be somebody who treats the Queen of Pentacles in a very cruel way, okay? Or somebody who is off, fucking around while the mom or the other spouse is back home taking care of things, okay? This could be somebody who's very angry and controlling, and somebody who likes to get their way, okay? And there may be this thing of falling for the wrong person, or getting pulled into somebody who promises the world but gives nothing, and that's definitely a false person. And perhaps some of you guys have run into some false people in your relationships. You've run into some very, maybe characters that seemed very charming or very sexy at first with the Fool and the Emperor, but you find out, damn, there's really, and I feel like somewhere inside your intuition knows. That's the thing, pile number 3. I do feel like the Queen of Pentacles has a very strong intuition. It represents the watery part of Earth. So it's like when you're in your intuition, you're very grounded and connected to yourself, both physically and emotionally. And probably just the way someone touches you or talks to you shows you their true colors, okay? And I do feel like there is a masculine presence that could be carrying generational curses and issues, okay? We have monkey and humor, all right? Well, this monkey doesn't look very happy. This looks like a sad monkey, but the ability to kind of like, sometimes that's what humor does, have a way of breaking the ice. It does have a way of being able to laugh at situations, or being able to joke, or being able to be zany, witty, or funny. I feel like some of you are monkey is very smart in Chinese astrology, very, very smart, and witty. And I feel like some of you here, you're very smart and witty. But we may also have a false person who uses humor in a way that's very self-destructive towards other people, or makes other people the butt of jokes, okay? So, I feel like you guys have the ability to laugh at a lot, and you're very witty and clever, and even in a situation where you feel down, even if you find yourself falling into a similar situation, I feel like you guys kind of shake your head and go, yep, like that type of thing, and maybe try to make a joke out of it or laugh about it. But I also feel like some people use humor as a way to deflect what they're feeling. I also feel like some people also use humor to sarcastically attack other people, and there may be some of that going on too. Okay, we have the divine masculine. Yeah, so the reading is all about who is carrying the generational trauma in the family. We can see there's definitely a divine masculine. We could have a Scorpio Capricorn woman in your family. But this goes I feel this goes way back in generations. And we have the sun and the moon together. 2, the number 2, right? That's how it should be, but I feel like this sun is like way bigger than the moon, and it's like, okay, you know, the divine masculine is like taking up a lot of space here. Give my divine feminine some room to breathe here, okay? But I feel like, yeah, I definitely think there's a divine in your paternal lineage, perhaps. Pile number 3, there's something going on there, okay? Spouse, yep, exactly. The divine masculine, the spouse, look at them. They're getting married, you know, and look at that now, all right? So a spouse that's a false person causing generational trauma. With the Fool and the Emperor, it could be somebody who has very careless actions, who cheats, okay? And getting a second chance at life to make better choices and do things differently is fantastic. We have finances, okay? With the Emperor, we could have a spouse that is controlling the finances or controlling the money. Or like I said, somebody married out of, you know, obligation, or married out of like joint, you know, we've got a kid, it's a shotgun wedding, I'm supposed to. Some of you could have had generational curses around transactional marriages or arranged marriages even. And I know a lot of people like arranged marriages. If you go far enough back in all of our histories, there's probably some form of arranged marriages there. And because they were very common, you know, if you go back generations, they're there. And, you know, yeah, I'm just seeing like somebody staying with somebody because because of the money or the stability, but not being satisfied, and sexually as well too. And perhaps, you know, a spouse with money or a spouse with power or something like that just makes sense because it helps provide for the family. And the Queen of Pentacles is very focused on, you know, the domestic aspect of things and the stability of things. But also at the same time, I feel like, you know, there's little to no freedom, and that's what's missing. And perhaps someone in your genetic line has no sense of humor, and you try to make fun, you try to have fun or laugh or have humor about things, and there's somebody that just has literally no sense of humor, doesn't get anything, doesn't care. It's just like, yeah, whatever. And or somebody who would like laugh at your jokes, but then, you know, just weird stuff going on. Somebody who makes weird jokes about money or people's money in the family. People who come off as self-made, but they're really not, you know, and are trying to, you know, make fun of other people because of that. Just shit like that. I'm also feeling in your genetic line, going far back, pile number 3, there could be a situation where a father gave his daughter away in marriage to, you know, to some loser, joker, poser, you know, immature piece of junk. You know what I mean? But thought they were making a good decision. I just feel there's definitely some stuff going on there. And back in the day, those things definitely happened. You know, daughters were like commodities, and they were, you know, auctioned off to the highest whoever type of thing. And so, yeah, and I just feel like you're different though, pile number 3. It says, I am adventurous. Like, I have a zest for life. I have a longing to be independent, the Emperor. I have a longing to expose false people, and I have a longing to do my own thing. And I don't want to get trapped, you know, having to depend on a false person when I don't, you know. So this is something that is alive and well, you know, that is being worked on, I feel. Do you know when people build like those little, they go to places and they'll build like little stone, they'll put like 4 stones on top of each other, and they build like little tiny stone temples. I don't even know what they're called, but they're like little energy things where people build like 4, I don't know why, I'm just seeing it, so I have to tell you guys about it, okay? We have melting mask. Allow your spirit self to shine through the many roles you fulfill. Yeah, so the Queen of Pentacles, I mean, some of you guys here, you may be running things, you may have businesses you're running. A lot of times the Queen of Pentacles, I see her working in the medical field too. Perhaps some of you, or in finance, perhaps some of you have multiple skills, multiple roles, parents, etc. You know, or you want to be. But there is this whole thing of a melting mask. And when we get to the Fool, when we get to like what we really want and what we really are and who we really are, all of those kind of expectations fall off of us. And it says, allow your spirit self to shine through. Yep, your spirit self is like the Fool. And the Fool represents the element of ether. And so it really is spirit. Allow your spirit self to shine through the many roles you fulfill. Your uniqueness, your differentness, your daring. I feel a lot of you guys have those scorpionic eyes, intense and deep. And, you know, allow yours, whether you're a Scorpio or not, but allow your full spirit of who you are. Let your freak flag shine, come through. You know, and I feel like it's really going to make you guys happy. I feel like it's really it's a cure for longing and melting that mask away. Yeah, it's really like being truly who you are is not dependent on anything else, okay? Pile number 3, and, you know, a lot of people hiding who they are is something that could be a generational curse in your family. And you're like, I'm not going to hide behind somebody else. I'm not going to hide who I am. I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to let people intimidate me into being someone I'm not. It's 11:11 right now, pile number 3. So that's an important message for you right now. Like, I will not be intimidated. I will not be brought down. I will show myself. And in that case, pile number 3, you're becoming a circuit breaker for your, you know, for your generation. And it's like, okay, if my family wants me to marry this person, I don't want to marry that person. I don't even feel like getting married right now. I want to do my own thing. I want to travel. I'm not done yet. Okay. One more time. We're going to celebrate. Okay. And rock the universe. Pile number 3. So, you know, it's like, kind of when all those things fall away, you're left with who you truly are, which is a renegade, I feel, pile number 3. Like, you're coming through strongly as a renegade who will not be intimidated, okay? Now, this is good. Let's go ahead and see what are the messages here. What should you do about this for my pile number 3s? What should pile number 3 do? We'll get into your initials here at the end. All right, after this, but what should pile number 3 do? Okay, 1, 2, 3. 3 of Wands, explore, adventure, you know, travel, you could see the airplane taking off and, you know, wishing like, hey, I want to go over there. I want to do that. And the 3 of Wands is a Sun and Aries card. So don't delay, you know, in Carpe Diem. We have the Hanged One. We have the Knight of Cups. Okay. Oh, and we have the Knight of Wands. Oh my God. It's like 2 sides of yourself are fighting with yourself in a way. Like, there's the side of you that's very emotional and dedicated. Some of you may have Scorpio and fire in your chart. The Knight of Cups in the tarot is Scorpio. The Knight of Wands is Leo. Scorpio versus Leo here. But it's almost like there's 2 sides of yourself. There's the side of you that's like, you know, let's fucking, you know, like turned on, passionate, like let's stop delaying, let's go, you know. And then there's the other part of you that's like, yeah, I guess, I don't know, am I ready yet? Do I feel, you know, maybe, you know. And also the Knight of Cups is very devotional and very emotionally, like emotionally invested is what I would say with the Knight of Cups. And so maybe I kind of feel like it's like you say, I have an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other shoulder. And sometimes it just makes me confused, with the Hanged One, or it makes me like pause because I have these moments where I feel like I feel guilty, or I feel that I owe something to these people or this person. And then other times I just feel like I don't care and I want to do what I want to do. Okay. And I do think it creates a bit of a spiritual crisis or a spiritual conundrum that causes you to go deep within yourself to analyze, like, how can we, I also feel some of you may have a sibling here as well too with these two knights, or there may be you and another person kind of facing off here. But the thing of the matter is, you want different things, or you're different people. And I more intensely feel like this is the two sides of you that struggle, because there is that very deep emotional side, the Queen of Pentacles, but then there is that Emperor, I want to do what I want to do, very independent. So I kind of feel like you guys may, and it creates this feeling of, spiritual ennui, and some of you guys, you may be going through, ennui is like a fancy way of saying, boredom or spiritual service or spiritual surrender, but also like, waiting at the same time, or waiting for the right moment. It's like we're suspended, we're waiting for the right time, and maybe we're making excuses. Oh, it's not the right time. Oh, it's too soon. Oh, I don't know. Or, I get a wild hair and one day I want to do everything, and then the next day I don't want to do anything, and I think there is a need to be patient with yourself. I do think that there's a huge part of you that is spiritually thirsty, hungry for rapture, pile number 3. And, I feel you guys are seekers. I feel you're very deep. There is a tendency to want to like get lost in a fantasy maybe at times too with certain things. But the Hangman is all about where we also can really let go of illusions with the Hangman and become extremely enlightened. And that's all about melting the mask and allowing, instead of just turning off and going into fantasy and just fantasizing about the life you want, it's about going after like what you really want and doing what you really want, and melting that mask away, to be brave enough to admit to yourself, I want this, I like this, I want to try this. And maybe you have to do some deep soul searching with the Hangman before you do that. And I don't think anything can necessarily, there may be things that are stopping you. There may be money things or financial things or commitments like that, with the spouse. If those of you have a spouse that, you're relying on financially, there may be some practical issues with the Queen of Pentacles. But pile number 3, I kind of feel like you're the only one that's really stopping yourself. You may be, well, it can be the guilt, or it could be the sense of duty or devotion. But also I feel like with the Hanged One, we need to really go deep within to say, what is the mask that I'm wearing? And maybe the generations before you didn't really ask that. They just went along with things. And, and then we have to say, okay, what is the mask that I'm wearing? And go deep within. What is it that I really, truly need and desire spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically? And then after you go into that, then after that, how do I make that happen for myself? And I get that it's a complicated process, but I also just think going and doing things. I mean, if you're reluctant to make some massive change, okay, fine. Maybe we need to meditate on it more and really take our time and be patient with that. But I also think there's like a lot of mini adventures that you guys could have too. There's a lot of new ways that you could stretch yourself through travel. I was going to say through divination, through travel, through trying new things, for checking new things out, for going to see new things, you know, like there's just different things besides, I mean, but I also feel you guys are really in a deep, and I feel some of you need some alone time as well with the Eight of Cups and the Hangman. I feel like you need some alone time to kind of think through things a little bit. But, you know, once you do that, it's going to be fine. And maybe you are craving some time to think through things and feel it out, you know. But ultimately, I feel like what comes through is like your fiery, passionate truth. Okay, and that's what comes through. All right, pile number 3, and I love that for you. And let you know, everyone may not be happy about some of the choices or things that you want or need, or there may be some pushback with the 5 of Wands on the bottom of the deck, but you know, you hold your ground. I know you will. I can see the determination in your eyes, okay? Let's go ahead and it's almost like try me, you know, like try me. So I like that, pile number 3. Now let's go ahead and see. The Nine of Cups also talks about acceptance and forgiveness, but perhaps there's times when you've accepted people, taken them back. You know, the Hangman is also very Neptunian, very forgiving. Like, I'm taking people back. I'm accepting people back into my life, even though they've proven to be totally unreliable and completely false, like this false person. And overall, that tends to just slow our progress down. And there may be a need to kind of meditate with the Hanged One on that and think about those times, you know, when we know that a person isn't necessarily good for us, or that, you know, they're just going to do the same thing they've always done, and yet we still are somehow fantasizing, hoping, or dreaming, right? And getting rid of those illusions and kind of stripping it down to what's essentially left, you know, pile number 3. But let's go ahead and see. Let's see here. Let's get some initials for you guys. This reading went very long. We have wow, W-O-W, wow. Hopefully you guys are looking at wonder upon yourself and saying wow, you know, or maybe it's an ow, an ouchie. Ooh, ow, X. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow, the gall of that X, or the gall, the nerve of that piece of crap, you know. But also, ow, you know, ow, that hurt. And, you know, I hear you, pile number 3, I do. But we're letting go, okay? We're melting the mask away. We have an F and a Q, okay? Foul ball by the X, for sure. Off, O-F-F, okay? Off the X already. And let's see what else here. Let's get some more initials. All right, we have an N. No, I love it. No, off. No, off with his head or her head or whoever it is, okay? 1. It's like you won for once, or you're winning for once. And yeah, I like that for you. Sometimes life can make us feel like there's no winner in a situation. You know, everyone lost in the situation, and I get that too. You know, we have a Y here, and if we have an S, we'll have sun. So perhaps, you know, you're like, no one's sun is making me miserable anymore, Natalie. But, you know, we always have to be careful, right? Because those generational curses can really come out of nowhere and pow, P-O-W, and surprise us. And let's see what else. We have an I. whip. Okay. And no, it's like, no, I won't. Okay. Oni, yoni. Oh my goodness. There it is. Yoni. Y-O-N-I, yoni. The sexual stuff I was talking about. Yeah. It's showing up in the reading and the need to kind of focus on that. We also have pony. Pony. Okay. Because you make me feel like a pony. Moni, moni. Let's see what else. I see pissed off here too. So it's like, no, I'm pissed off. I'm not going to go back to that. I'm not going to do that. Okay. Good for you. Let's see what else. We have bony. Interesting. We have a B. Could be Bon or Bonnie. B-O-N-N-I. Okay. And Bobby is also here. Bobby with an I and Bobby with a Y. Perhaps you guys have someone with that name and in your family. Mr. Pibb is here too, for those of you that like that type of, yeah, P-I-S-S, piss off. Yeah. No, piss off, okay? Good for you guys. Like, I'm not with it either. The X's literally can all drop off the face of the earth for all I care. You know, like, you'll never on me go, oh yeah, the X's. No, no, no. That's not bish please, as they would say. But no, we're not going there. Not for that SOB. No, we aren't. There's the SOB. Bye, BY. But anyway, it's a no. And let's see what else we have here. I'm feeling the energy. I like it. And we have an A here. Pia. Fiona. Fiona is here, like in Shrek. I often think the Queen of Pentacles kind of reminds me of Fiona from Shrek. It's kind of funny, like with the yellows and the nature and the everything. That's so funny. We have Antonia or Pia or Nia, N-I-A, okay? And we also have Sun, S-O-N, there it is, Sun. So perhaps a son that was carrying a generational curse or was having to deal with a father that was an SOB or something like that too. We have Sunny, S-O-N-N-Y as a name. Sandy, let's see what else we have here. Oh, I also see the name Sophia. Sophia is here. Okay. And base, B-A-S-S. I got that base for you, pile number 3. Let's see what else. We have an R. Okay. I'm looking for the T for brat. But anyway, you're like, yeah, I can be a brat. Good for you. Keep being a brat. We have, it feels like Sarah there, like we've got the name Sarah, and Sonia is also here too. Let's see, Rob or Robert is here. I feel like Steph is here too, Steph or Stephanie. Let's see, anything else? AR, Arkansas. Okay, and anything else? Brian is also here too. I see a Brian. Okay, and I see Sir, S-I-R, Sir. And if we had an E, we'd see an obey, sir, something like that. That's very emperor-ish. We also have Bar. We have Barney as well, too. Perhaps somebody's son liked Barney a lot or something, but the purple dinosaur, but we have Barney. We also have Barn. Barnyard. Perhaps someone had a barnyard growing up. I'm getting peonies, or that type of flower, peonies. Perhaps somebody liked that a lot or had that. And no bar. Okay, no bar. And let's see, anything, maybe somebody worked at some bar called No Bar or something, I don't know. I'm just seeing what I see. Okay, if we had an L, we'd have a liar here too. Fiber, okay, no fiber, something about that. Okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead, and I'm also seeing Anissa, or the name Anissa or Anissa is here too, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there, I think, for you, pile number 3. Very interesting reading. I hope that reading resonated for you, and I hope it gave you some clarity that you were looking for. And I hope this helps you attack that issue of generational curses to the best of your ability. All right, pile number 3, thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. And I wish everybody the best. Take care.